Good evening, everybody. I'm David Gill. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director. I appreciate you guys coming. This turnout is significantly larger than I anticipated. So obviously, these projects are going to be very exciting to talk about for the next hour and a half or so. This needs to be an interactive process. We have about 15 or 16 slides to go through. Then we're going to break into groups, and then we're going to have you participate in what you want the river corridor to look like. Before we get going, I know there's several city councilors here. I saw the mayor here, the city manager's here, members of the Recreation Park Advisory Board's here. Everybody else, you have everybody's attention here regarding what we want to plan. So use your time wisely. Obviously, I think everybody saw this online, but if you haven't, this is about 10 years in the making. And this year's capital improvement budget, city manager recommended, and then the mayor and city council approved this project to kind of look at what we're calling the Merrimack River Recreation and Open Space Corridor. And it's basically from Kiwanis Riverfront Park all the way down to Terrill Park along the east side of the river. So I'm not going to read this to you, but it's there. This document will also be online by tomorrow, so if you wanted to look at it, then that's great. Obviously, there's a team around us when we do these types of projects. We have staff represented from Parks and Rec, the General Services Department, Community Development, the Planning Division, and we've selected VHB. Both Dave and Mike are here. VHB is our design company. It's the same company who is working with us to design and hopefully continue to build the Merrimack River Greenway Trail. And we also used them when we did the master planning for Terrill Park. So, agenda's pretty straightforward. We'll spend a few minutes reviewing the project, reviewing the scope. We'll go through some different aspects of where each section of what's been done. We're going to break into groups, and then each group's going to have a staff person there is going to help navigate the conversation. Each group is going to have to select a team leader. Team leader is not city staff. I wanted to be somebody from the group because this is your story. This is you're telling us what you guys want. So a leader to kind of report back to the larger group regarding what the smaller group wanted to do. And then we'll have a little game of placing dots on some of the projects. So that'll be fun at the end. And obviously, at the end of it, we'll have some questions, we'll recap, and we'll talk about what next steps are going to be. So, like we said, this is a good area map. The yellow sections are classified as parks. So we have Kiwanis Park on the north side, which is Loudon Road. The green section is a conservation land. All the way down on the right is Terrill Park. And then across the street, down by Manchester Street, is Healy Park. So we have a lot of opportunity along that corridor to kind of reimagine what we're going to do for the next generation or so when it comes to the riverfront access. Pretty soon I'm going to have Jay from General Services Department come up, but Kiwanis Riverfront Park, just a quick review, it's 14 acres. It's 1,400 feet along the Merrimack River. You know, we have a small walking trail, we have some old benches, but 1,400 feet is a good amount of space that we do something with. All these locations, is important to note, we're a mile or less from downtown Concord or the Heights neighborhood or the development on Manchester Street. So it's in walking distance of everybody. Kiwanis Riverfront Park right now, it's the main anchor is the Everett Arena. We also have Concord Crew. Concord Crew's been there, I think 15 years. They lease space from us. And then we have the Concord Skateboard Park that was built in 1994. combination of private donations and a group in the city. So that's kind of the area of Kiwanis. And now it's Jay's turn to give us an overview of the Everett Arena operation and some of their needs and wants and operational activities.
Thank you, David, and thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Jay Burgess. I'm the City of Concord's Public Properties Division Superintendent. Public Properties helps manage and operate the arena. Everett Arena's been on this site for a number of years. I think we celebrated our 50th anniversary in 2017, 2015. So long time occupant of Kiwanis Park. The arena is approximately, the overall size of the arena is about 80,000 square feet. The general layout of the arena is such, I think most people are familiar with the inside layout of the arena as an ice rink. But I think it's important to note, particularly for the conversations that we're going to be having tonight, that about 30% of the 70,000 people or so that come through the arena every year are for some of the off-season shows, what we will call the dry floor shows, and some of the roller skating and other events that we have at the arena. That doesn't include some of the outside events such as the Kiwanis Fair and some of the other festivals that happen at the park. So the arena really is a four-season facility, and I think that that's one of the things we want to keep in mind as we move forward tonight. Several years ago, in response to some requests from members of the community, we took a look at the facility itself and how it was serving the needs of the various constituents we have, including the dry floor shows. And we developed this expansion concept that was brought forward in 2020. It involves an 83,000 square foot expansion. That rendering you see right there kind of wraps around, if we're looking east here, it wraps around the west and north side of the building. And that would give us the opportunity to expand some of the locker room space. It would give us the opportunity to possibly host a restaurant of some sort, and there's some retail opportunities as well on the first floor. We looked at the price. We priced out it extensively in 2021. The price of this expansion was about $8 million. We know with the cost escalations that everybody's seen, that would probably be quite a bit more than that, probably over $10 million as it was designed. So that's essentially what we have going on in the arena in a nutshell. As several people have mentioned earlier, that the arena itself, the operation of the arena, the 3 full-time staff and the roughly 15 other part-timers that we have that run the arena are part of a special revenue fund. And that's essentially allows the arena to operate based on the revenues it brings in from the various enterprises that we're involved with. Ice rates, the dry floor rates, some of the outside the building rentals we see, such as the Christmas tree and the fish truck, and the money we make in the pro shop and the snack bar. So the arena is essentially a self-funded operation as far as the operational costs go. And it's probably one of the bigger constituents of this park. So we look forward to some interesting discussion tonight, and I'm going to turn it back over to David. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. And again, I think everybody who's here, if it's Concord Crew or the skateboard group, this is Kiwanis Riverfront Park as we know it today. We have the 1994 skateboard park. We have Concord Crew who's doing all of their activities and programs there. It's interesting to note Concord Crew is not part of Concord School District. So they are a separate nonprofit and self-supporting in their own way. So that's, a lot of people think that's as part of the school district. It is not. And then we have some old benches, the walkway. We have hosted, as Jay mentioned, some special events like summer concerts, beer festivals there every year. So it has some life, but I think everybody's in agreement it's probably tired, probably needs a facelift. So that's Kiwanis Riverfront Park. And I'm going to bring up Beth next to talk about the conservation land.
Jeez. I don't realize how many people there are until you're standing up here. I'm Beth Fenstermacher. I'm the Assistant City Planner, and I'm the staff liaison with the Conservation Commission. The central part of this whole corridor is this large agricultural open space. The Conservation Commission and City Council acquired these properties since 2007, and it's a total of 114 acres. About 60 acres is active agricultural land. The rest is mostly wetlands. So we have a new farmer that's coming in this year. It's been cornfields forever. Is Greg, are you here? There he is in the back. Our new farmers from Sunfox Farm are moving here from Canterbury, right? You're in Canterbury now. They're going to do large-scale sunflower production for sunflower oil, and they're going to be working on other food products or other perennial products. So it'll be a huge change out there, but I think it's going to be really exciting. It'll improve pollinator habitat, potential new local food production. So we think it's going to be really exciting to have these new farmers, young farmers, come in to Concord. So we're excited about that. They'll start growing this growing season. And there's been a lot of work with City Council about the use of this property. And a few years ago, there was discussions about it, and local bird watchers came out and provided a list that they have found over 150 different bird species out on this property. So it's really exciting to have this huge, almost wildlife refuge in the middle of the city as well. So we are going to preserve that through this being conservation land and continue the farm use of this property to support all these bird species and introduce new insects and other pollinators out on this property. So that's an exciting part of this whole corridor. And then it's a little hard to see, but the next phase of the Merrimack River Greenway Trail is planned along the river there. We are working with VHB on the design of that section. It'll be 12-foot wide paved, and we're looking to go into permitting in the next couple months and hopefully start construction this summer. So that'll be nice to get people out there in a sort of a safer setting than there is right now to get out to that property. Do you want to go to the next slide? So for those that don't know, Merrimack Greenway Trail is, we have members of the Friends of the Merrimack River Greenway Trail here tonight that have been working on this since I think the 90s. Is that right, Dick? 90? Somewhere around there. 10 years. 10 years? But I think the original concept came about probably in the 90s. But in the past 10 years, really going full force to connect from Pembroke up to Boscawen, the Boscawen town line. So first phase was constructed in Terrill Park, and this is going to be our next phase, phase 2 in the agricultural fields. And then the city is working to acquire, I think it's almost 6 miles of the north part of the city that's going to connect to the Northern Rail Trail in Boscawen. So that's really exciting. Hopefully in the next couple of years that'll go through. So this kind of ties everything together along this corridor. I think it's good.
Thank you, Beth. On the south end of the corridor is Terrill Park. Terrill Park went through a similar master planning phase and a design phase in 2006, 2017. This is the approved plan. This plan is designed and permitted. So it shows the continuation of the Greenway Trail going north. It's going to connect to the section that we're trying to build south, hopefully soon. It has a new athletic field complex with lights, new parking lot. It has access. This park will be the first park for this neighborhood. If you look at along Manchester Street, there's a lot of homes on the left-hand side. They do not have a local park within walking distance. So there's a playground, there's green space, there's open space. Phase 1 was completed a couple of years ago. That's the section in blue. That's basically, we removed the old dog park. We created a new parking lot, built a new dog park, and we built the first section of the Merrimack River Greenway Trail. The Greenway Trail was in partnership with the Friends of the Merrimack River Greenway Trail and a Land and Water Conservation grant. So basically, the city, the grant, and the Greenway Trail folks raised a lot of money, and it was a partnership to get it built. We were very fortunate. The Interior Secretary, Jewel, the mayor, and Senator Shaheen came around 2017, 16. And they highlighted that this is one of their stops because it has Land and Water Conservation Fund. That's federal money that we can use to develop new parks or renovate parks. So she was here highlighting that. That program is all around the state, so we're excited for that. One of the areas we're not addressing in this, but is going to morph into something, I'm sure, is when we look at that corridor, we do have a lot of commercial properties that may change over time. I know the planning folks are looking at code. Those are two sections that are not city-owned, but I think when we start visioning what the riverfront could look like, maybe the owners over time might want to do something different. So here's a good thing. I'm going to dream big. Next couple of slides are examples. Top left is outside dining. The Everett Arena edition right now shows a restaurant with outside dining looking over the river. In the middle section is green infrastructure. There are ways to build parking lots that have grass that when the arena needs all the parking, they have the parking, but when they don't need the parking, it looks like a park. There's a couple of pictures there for outside dining right next to the river. There's a picture of food trucks. So the lower left-hand picture, that's in New Hampshire. It's down south. But there's outside dining, beer trucks, opportunities are endless. When you look at other activities as, paved trails, elevated walkways, how do we get folks from downtown to along the river and to other places? You can have an elevated walkway, you can have a nice curved walkway. And now, I think one of the opportunities about today is kind of cool is we need to dream big. We need to see what everybody wants. We're not going to focus on the budget aspect right now. I know the mayor and the city councilors are probably saying, David, what are you saying? But there's so much possibilities. These pictures are all pictures in the United States. They're riverfront parks that have been redeveloped over the past 20 years. So we're a little smaller. Some of these cities are much larger, but we can kind of see what's possible. We already do some events and some concerts down at Kiwanis. Do you want to have a half shell? Do you want to have more events? And maybe it's not here, maybe it's somewhere else along the river. So, these are the opportunities I think we all need to consider. And I know a lot of folks are here because of Concord Crew or the skateboard park. When we break into breakout groups, it's important to look at the entire property and dream big. Because I think everybody knows what they want to know, but let's think bigger. Obviously the river. Concord Crew is and a couple of fishing boats every year, but Concord Crew's the only one really on the water. Every spring, summer, and fall. What can we do to help increase that usage? Host regattas. Skateboard park. These are the skateboard park group got organized about 2 years ago. They've worked with the Recreation and Park Advisory Board. They gave us ideas on size and features, and they gave us language we never even heard before regarding all the jumps and all the features you have. I just took these pictures. This is not what they're proposing. But new skateboard parks are not what we have right now. So you can look at, they can fit into a landscape. They can fit into a side of a hill and have all the features that the skateboarders want, but it can still work in a park setting. So again, we just want to kind of think big and kind of challenge what we've done and what we want to be. So here's a fun part in my mind. I don't know how we're going to do this with so many people, but we're going to do it. We have 4 groups. We're going to move people around. We may want to, Laura, do you want to take your group outside when we get there, just in the lobby? And what the goal is for the next 20 minutes or so is in each of your small groups, we're going to have a staff member there. We have these boards that kind of show the recreation corridor. We want to have a conversation with you regarding what you want it to be. So we gave you some examples. Some other people may have other examples. The staff member will write it on the board, and then each group needs to have a group leader. Again, not staff, it's one of you guys, because this is you guys as parks and open space, is to be able to report back the general conversation of the group and the top 7 or 8 things that the group wanted to have. And then once we do that, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back and do a wrap-up exercise to kind of hopefully highlight, the top features everybody wants. Like I said before, this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. The riverfront has not changed in 50 years. The bridges have. We built new bridges, but the access to the river has not. So I think it is your opportunity to dream big, be creative. A couple of the rules is all ideas are good ideas. If everybody can be aware of not over-talking, because there's a lot of people here, there's going to be a lot of ideas. So when you break into your groups, try to be respectful of other people's opportunity to speak. It's great that we have young children here and we have older adults. So we have the full mix, and the ideas you guys have may be different from the ideas some of the older folks have. So we need you guys to speak up, okay? Any questions? Okay, perfect. So if we can have everybody, I need the group leaders to come up here. And if everybody can break into kind of groups of 20.
Rollerbladers, scooters, BMX, skateboarders, even longboarders show up and hang around. We got a whole mixed bag, but yeah.
And I think your future expansion plan is for bigger things too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're right next door at Concord Creek. We love having you guys there, and I think it's good to have, if you're going to have utilities, to have them, close proximity.
That could be an amazing spot to do what you're talking about and give us a way to watch races and leverage more of the riverfront.
I know that's like up there.
I mean, one of our ideas years ago, when we first got started, was our covered area, maybe